Hey everybody, it's Allison here on my channel. So I did the thing that I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to do when you start a YouTube channel, which is to start a YouTube channel, put a couple of videos out, and then just stop recording. And just stop posting. And so, I mean, there's a couple of reasons why I did that. Which I will talk about once we get started, but I have kind of been feeling like I wanted to do some more videos and like jump back into the conversations again. So I thought maybe now would be a good time. And I had sort of had this idea. I got the Tarot Muha recently, and I don't know, just going through it, it was reminding me of the Bianco Nero Tarot and some very specific ways, even though they're very different decks. So I thought I'd do what Mistress Ray does a lot on her channel, which is an unfair deck comparison. Putting two decks next to each other that don't seem to have a lot to do with each other, and just kind of flipping through and seeing them side by side. And yeah, so I actually think these might have some similarities. But just so we have something to look at while I kind of talk, I thought that I would do this. So let's zoom in and see if we can get them. So I am super worried. Like, my lighting is not very good. I don't have a big light in here. It's daytime and I'm trying to stay away from some sunlight, which is right over here, and it blows out the camera. So I've just got my like incandescent lights on. So this is, I don't know if it's coming up on the camera, but this is black and white. It's not cream. It's not off-white. It's like stark black and white. And this is, of course, like a sort of faded parchment color. So hopefully it'll be the right color. And if not, there are other walkthroughs online where hopefully you can see them in like 4K and better color and everything. Okay, so these are the backs of the cards. And we'll just start flipping. So I stopped making videos pretty much because in the middle of January, my son caught COVID at school, and then we all caught it in the house, and we were down for like a good 3 weeks. So we were part of the, whatever it is, like 45% of the US that caught COVID in the Omicron surge in January. So, so that kind of like put me off of what I had been doing, you know, the kind of like the videos I had been wanting to make, and just like a lot of my hobbies, of course, fell by the wayside, as they do when you're sick. But this High Priestess actually reminds me more of the Hierophant, so maybe we'll put that away until we get back there. I love this Empress so much. Anyway, and then, I don't know, once I start to feel better, I started having some doubts, some self-doubts about me on TarotTube. Ooh, see, look. And then that's why the High Priestess, because she has a hat very much like these two. I just like, I don't have an aesthetic. I don't have a very specific point of view. I don't have a niche. Like, my aesthetic is my tarot cloth, which is literally just the cloth that's on. It's like a scarf that I put on my table that I read on, and one candle, yay! And that's not even in the shot right now. I have a really hard time making posts look pretty. I don't have like a lot to say. I'm still very much, I've been reading tarot for maybe 4 or 5 years now, but I'm still very much like in a learning headspace. I don't know. I don't have a lot of like super strong opinions. I don't know. I just felt like I wasn't sure I had anything to add to the conversation, this is a much different strength. And I don't know, I just sort of stopped. It's a lot of work also, as you guys who have been doing this for years all know, I'm sure, but it was kind of more work than I had anticipated. And I think part of that is the way that I'm doing it, which is not on my phone, but on like a memory card on a camera, so it just takes longer. So anyway, so I stopped doing videos, but I have been watching, like participating in TerraTube more, like watching it more, because I had sort of stopped watching it as well. I sort of just dropped off of social media for a while. And I guess I just sort of wanted to see, this is why all these men in low slung pants is the reason that I thought of these two decks that they should go together. So I'll point out other examples as we come on, but this is the reason. I don't know, what was I saying? I don't know. I've been watching Mixture Stray, I've been watching Sylvain, and just listening to some of the conversations. I've been watching Empress and Basil, and just kind of like, I don't know, wanted to kind of participate in some of these conversations. Like I don't have, a lot of them have been about like consumerism and tarot decks, collecting versus culling. I don't have very many strong feelings about those. I mean, I've loved everything that everyone has been saying about on the subject lately, but I'm not going through a culling phase right now. I've slowed down my collecting, but I still am okay with like buying a deck if, you know, I'm going through kind of a rough period just to cheer myself up. Like I'm okay with that kind of thing at the moment. So but I also regularly like cull my decks, and I will take some to a used bookstore instead of trying to sell them or trade them online, because that's just so much time and effort. So I'm sort of like, I don't have a lot of strong opinions about the topic. But what I have been thinking about lately is the proliferation of private like tarot community groups that seem to be popping up everywhere. I feel like every like tarot teacher that I follow on YouTube in the last 5 months, like since the beginning of the year, has messaged me to ask if I would like to be part of their private tarot community. You know, and it's just it's an interesting phenomenon to see. And I've actually joined a couple of them, and for reasons that I think are partially about me and partially about trying to make this kind of community work in an online sphere. None of them have worked out for me, and so I recently had another person kind of reach out because I'm on their newsletter, and they're starting another new one, and I really like the way that this person reads tarot, and I'm very, very tempted to join, but I kind of by now I sort of know myself and how I sort of operate in these situations, and I just don't think it's a good idea. But I don't know. What am I even saying? I don't even know what I'm saying, you guys. This is a very rambly, like unthought out video. I don't have any real, like my thoughts haven't really coalesced into anything solid or easily verbalized at this moment. But I just kind of wanted to ask the question, really, if anyone else had sort of seen this pattern happening and what they thought about this pattern. It's kind of like when everyone moved to Patreon, except that it's more expensive. So Patreon, you know, they have the tiers. You know, a lot of them start at like $2, and then you can go do $10 or $20. But these are, I don't know, I've seen a couple of them popped up at the beginning of the year that were like $120, $150 per month to participate in this community. And then the recent ones have been more like $30 a month. So I'm actually still in one run by the Tarot Diagnosis, which is a couple of like psychologists or therapists that also read tarot. And so I am in theirs because they ask excellent questions, and I love their spreads. And it's not that expensive. It's like $20 a month. But I just like, I don't know. I have some thoughts, I guess. Let's see, maybe we'll come back to that person later. I totally understand that all of these creators want to be getting paid for their work. You know, like maybe they've been sharing, their work, or they're writing on Instagram for years, and now, I don't know, it seems like they want to move to a space where they can get, you know, get some income going, which I totally get, and I totally understand, I totally respect. But there's just something about, I don't know, there's just something about like how much everyone seems to be asking. Like there's like a disconnect between what I would value this kind of community as a monthly payment and like what the creators are valuing it at. And, you know, it's the same with everybody going onto Patreon. I just don't, I don't have the option to support everybody that I want to. Like, you know, especially if we're talking about $20 a month, that's like, I don't know, 2 or 3 that I can participate with, and then I'm out. Because it's a monthly, you know, it's not like a one-time purchase of a deck, although, you know, if that happens every month, I guess it's kind of the same thing, but it's a monthly thing that you're signing up for, and you're kind of signing up for it indefinitely. And it kind of seems like a big commitment. I'm not saying it's not, that the information and the services that these creators are offering aren't worth $20 a month. That's not what I'm saying. You know, multiple Zooms a month and whatever else, you know, emails every day. I mean, you know, it is of value what people are offering, but it just, I don't know. It's an interesting phenomenon to see, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, I guess, in the end. And I think part of that, I mean, I definitely, of course, part of that is on me, because I am like an information hoarder and I'm feeling FOMO about not being able to participate, you know, in all these classes with all these wonderful tarot readers that, you know, I want to be able to have access to their readings and, you know, what they have learned. And so having to pass on it is, you know, is kind of, is a discomfort that I have to kind of manage. Which is the same kind of discomfort that we might feel, you know, if we see a deck that everybody's excited about, and we might feel some FOMO about that, but kind of have to come to terms with, you know, not being able to get each and every one of them. And so I've been thinking about, who is it? Grace? And I forget her channel name. Oh, shoot. Let me see if I can find it really quick. But she's been talking recently about the, fantasy self. I'm sorry, it's Mary Grace, and that's her channel, is Mary Grace Farun, I think is her last name. But she's been talking a lot lately as she's been divesting a lot of her decks. These guys, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to take a side step here for a minute. These men in their low slung toga pants are why, as soon as I saw this guy, I thought of all of these. There's quite a few in the Bianco Nero deck that have these, this sort of clothing. And so I don't know if it's something about the Art Deco style, or if it's about both of, I think these are both Los Scarabeo decks. No, that's not right. This is, Bianco Nero, I think, is a US Games deck. So I don't know. Maybe it's something about the Art Deco style that I'm unaware of, because I really only associate Art Deco style with like the ladies. I don't know what mask people look like when they're drawn in an Art Deco style. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. So what was I saying? Oh, the fantasy self. So I have started to think that maybe it's like my fantasy self that wants to participate in these online communities, because they sound really awesome. But every time I join, I don't know, the chat, like a big selling point I think that most of the creators make out of it is the chat. Like you have this own chat server where you can, you know, chat with other members and discuss ideas and like learn from each other, which in theory I love, but in practice it is kind of awkward for me. I don't know if it's awkward for anybody else. Other people are participating, so maybe they're getting a lot out of it. I love the octopus here, and I just love this king's whole getup. Is just, I don't know why, but I really find it cool. It kind of reminds me of the king from the Next World Tarot, or is it the queen? See if I can find it really quick as I talk. But so the chats, I find the chats kind of awkward, because what it turns into is everybody going, oh, I drew these cards today and it relates to my life because of X, Y, and Z. And then the next person says, I drew these cards today. It relates to my life because of X, Y, and Z. And so then you don't, I don't know, there's just like not as much like conversation, actual conversation and interaction as I would like. I'm not finding this card. It's very frustrating. Shoot. course, now I'm in it. Look, here, I'll put these here just so you guys can see something. See something as I do this. It's like the King of Cups or the Queen of Cups in the Next World Tarot. Of course, it's going to be the last card I find because it's always the way. But like once you are this far, you've committed. I've committed. Oh my gosh, it's none of these. I must have passed it. Never mind. Sorry, guys. Just have to skip it. Just have to skip it. Okay. Back to our regularly scheduled program. There we go. Okay, so I find the chat's awkward. It reminds me of when I took online classes in college and you had to participate in the Blackboard chat forum in order to get participation credit. And what you did basically is everyone went on there and the requirement was that you had to post a paragraph of your own, like your own reflection on the reading, and then you had to comment on 3 other people's paragraphs. And it all felt very like stilted and it didn't feel like a natural conversation. And that's what these chat forums that are part of these like online community groups remind me of is that like we all are posting about our polls for that day because that's part of kind of the expectation. And then sometimes commenting on each other, but since you don't really know each other, you can't be like, oh yeah, that really does go with your life right now. Because there's a mini icon and like some words. And I guess the point is you probably get to know each other over time, but it feels kind of awkward for me. And so if the chat is one of the major features being sort of sold as part of, the reason why you're paying to participate in this group, and then I don't find that very fulfilling. Oof, this is a rough 10, man. Then, so that kind of leaves me sort of frustrated with these groups. See, here's another one. Low slung. Yeah. And then also, I don't know, I don't have the mental capacity or the energetic capacity to really like participate in a consistent way at the moment. My card of the year is the Wheel of Fortune, and I have really been feeling that kind of like up and down, like constant influx. Sometimes I have lots of energy and I can get stuff done. A lot of times it's just enough to get through the day. And, anything, I can't really do anything extra. So kind of like joining a group that I'm going to need to be, like fully committed to in order to make it work is just a lot. And I guess that's it about those. I guess that's all my feelings about those. I don't think they're very controversial feelings. I don't blame, the creators for wanting to find a way to make some, to make some money, to get some income and some value back for what they're creating for us or what they're putting out into the world. And of course, it's our choice if we want to join or not. So that's not an issue. I just noticed it happening a lot. I've been getting a lot of messages of people creating these spaces, and I'm just not sure. I really want community. At least that's what I've been telling myself, is that I really want to be part of a community, especially that involves tarot. But I just feel like these sort of paywall, private communities headed by a tarot teacher, it just, for whatever reason, they're not going to fill that need for me. I don't know if I've quite broken down why that is yet. And I'm really kind of disappointed because it would be an easy answer. And there have been a couple that have sounded really awesome, and it's been kind of a shame to leave. I've started them and I've ended up leaving because I just haven't been participating. Or this one recently that I've really wanted to participate in because I love the way that this teacher reads tarot, and I just love watching her read tarot. It's like I learned so much just watching her, But there's just everything that she's offering besides her reading tarot is just not something that I really feel like participating in right now. So I don't know. I guess I'm curious just to know if y'all have seen a similar move from like either from Patreon to these kind of like larger tarot groups. I'm gonna look for this Cups card while I continue talking, because why not? Or just more of these kind of like private groups popping up. I think what I want, I've been thinking about this and I've decided, so I'm in a book club that meets online. So it's not the online Zoom format. I don't think that's a problem for me. It meets online. It's Harry Potter and the Sacred Text, which is a podcast. And it's like our local chapter of it. And so we get to talk about like really deep, meaning of life questions. Focus, with a focus, so it kind of keeps us on task. And there's only 6 of us, and we meet once a week. And none of us are like the teacher. None of us are like running a class. There's no like homework. There's no like required discussion. It just feels a lot more informal. And it's like a book club. And I think that's what I want. I want a tarot book club. I want like a group of friends who can just meet, I don't know, once a week, twice a month, and talk about, yes, tarot, but also like other stuff. And like, I don't know. I just, something about the formality and the structure. Here, these two. This is the Queen of Cups and the Next World Tarot, and this is the King of Cups in the Tarot Mucha, and they just really remind me of each other. I mean, this one's, I think, the one I prefer, but just like their amazing outfits. I enjoy them. Yeah, it's something about the informality and the casual nature of a weekly book club that feels much more doable and much more approachable. Something I can like fit into my life right now. This like the payment part for some reason feels like a much larger commitment when you're asked to pay like $30 every month for this like privilege of being in a community. I don't know. I just wonder how many people are actually able to do that, And I mean, some of these groups have sliding scales, so that's good. So that, opens it up maybe for more people. But I don't know. I pulled these cards the other day on the full moon. This is the Lilith Tarot. I pulled the Hierophant, the 8 of Cups, and then the Lovers. And I didn't really make anything of it when I pulled it, but they've been kind of sitting out on my desk. And I was doing a reading about this whole situation earlier today, and I pulled the 8 of Cups again. And then I looked up and saw these cards, and it just struck me that like last year was the Hierophant year, and this year is the Lovers year. And there's just something about moving away from this sort of like structured learning environments, or this sort of like top-down teaching structure, to like a more community kind of democratic sort of like everybody's just hanging together kind of structure. And I know that's what like these people are trying to create. They're trying to create a community and like, provide the container in which people can come together and talk and get to know each other. But for me, it doesn't end up feeling like this. It ends up feeling, I don't know. And I'm sure that most of this is like shadow work I need to be doing to figure out like what is the problem with these communities and me. But part of it, I think, is the structure, is the fact that it's not casual. Just the fact that I am paying for the privilege of going. It's like when you pay for the gym. Paying for it is part of the incentive to get you to go. But it's also, I always sort of felt a little kind of grumpy about the fact that I was paying for the gym, because I could just go walk outside. I could just kind of put on music and dance at my house. And of course the gym has things I don't have at home. They have the weights machines and the treadmills and stuff. But there's something about me right now that would rather just go walk outside than pay to use the facilities at a gym. So I don't know. That's just kind of what I'm thinking about at the moment. And I felt like I wanted to share it. And I don't know if it makes any sense at all, but I would be really interested to know if any of you are seeing a similar phenomenon or have noticed this sort of happening in the community. If you have any similar thoughts about it, or if you really don't care. If you have stronger thoughts. I don't know. I love watching videos, YouTube tarot videos, where people have very strong opinions, and often snarky ones. Like, I think it's awesome. I think that these are, these sort of points of view are not heard, have not been heard so recently. And so I appreciate them. And that's kind of part of the reason why I've not been sharing videos as much, because I just don't have as many strong opinions, nor do I get as snarky about most things, though I love it when others do. So, yeah, so I don't know. So this is just what I had to share today, and maybe I'll post this, maybe I won't. I don't know if I do post it, how many people will actually see it, because I don't know how many followers I still have or who will even watch my videos, but hopefully somebody will. And let me see, is there my title card? So these were the two decks, just again, these are the two decks that I showed, the Bianco Nero and the Tarot Mucha. We didn't really talk about them at all. They just were kind of there as a backdrop as I flipped through. So if you have questions about them, just let me know, because I can answer some. But there are other flip throughs online. And I really don't think they're that much alike. I do think there's some sort of like Art Deco elements to this deck that is interesting that I didn't recognize until I got this deck and started thinking about them together. So if you've watched this, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know how you're doing, and yeah, how you're feeling. I feel like it's been kind of a weird time. I've been hearing from a lot of people that they're feeling the last couple of years in a way that they haven't really before. Like more people are grumpy. It's harder to get the same kind of like social emotional support from their friends and family that they used to, or something. I don't know. I think it's kind of a weird time. Like, it feels like it should be normal, but it inside we still feel kind of like beat up and tired. So I think that's it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.